In this Lunch Bite series, we will talk about how to approach agent building, the agent building mindset. Let's get started. Today we will be covering 3 topics. We will start off with choosing the platform, followed by components of agent building, then last but not least, the agent building process. The overall purpose is to help people understand how to build agents. I'm not referring to the framework of going from development to production. That's not what I'm referring to. Thanks to current technologies, agent building is becoming more and more democratized, and so the opportunity to build agents is not available to everyone, or is becoming more available to everyone. And so when you are thinking about agent building, or you are reserved about building agents, I hope to fill in some gaps and questions that you may have, and hopefully by the end of this you will be more willing and interested in actually building your first agent. When it comes to agent building, you need to think about the platform that you will be using. There are 2 high-arching groups when it comes to this. The first is the high-code traditional way. Then the second is the low-code, no-code solution, which is out of the box. There are pros and cons to each, and it comes down to your personal preferences. In a high-code traditional platform, you are building everything from the ground up. You have a lot of customization at your disposal. That includes even testing and the ability to integrate into other resources or have other resources integrate into your product. From a low-code, no-code approach, you're building from functions and features that exist within the platform. With that, you do have some restrictions. There may be some limitations to how you can connect to other systems or how other systems can connect to you, but it varies depending on the platform overall. Once you've decided, you can then proceed into the next step. Personally, I opted for a low-code, no-code platform due to the benefits mentioned earlier. In addition, in terms of the platform I actually selected, were based upon several key features that were offered. The continuous improvement of the platform, and to be able to actually see that happen, I think that is a very great experience, where I would not use a platform on a Friday, and then come Monday, I would start noticing little things that would appear that weren't present just a week ago. In addition, the ability where they're adding the latest and greatest models. I don't need access right away when the latest version of these large foundational models comes out. However, I do have confidence that those models will eventually become available on that platform. And so the continuous improvement aspect was a very big thing. The next is an engaged community, where I can speak with other agent builders, ask them questions, they give me feedback, as well as I can learn more about what other people are building and the opportunity to help them build a better agent. So in the end, I ended up choosing Agent AI because it provided all the benefits I described above, in addition to other ones as well. Now you have selected a platform, but before you actually begin building an agent, there are a few things you need to think about. First, try to conceptualize what your agent will do. Go old school pen and paper and jot down what tasks this agent will complete. Will it be reviewing documents, checking the internet, checking your social media, and think about every detailed action that this agent will do. What that will do would then help you identify what would be the best large language model or LLM for you to leverage. Why that matters, because I view large language models as power tools. Think of a Phillips screwdriver and then think of a flathead screwdriver. They are 99.9% exactly the same. However, one of them will help you take off your wall plate cover without scratching or damaging the screw, while the other will heavily damage your screw. And that's how I perceive LLMs, as power tools. So don't aim for the biggest model out there when that's not required for you to use. It's a matter of understanding what are the limitations between large language models and what they are best used for. Once you have that, then you think about, well, what does your agent need? Given the tasks identified, what data does it need? What information does it need to reference? Then the last but not least is the orchestration. And orchestration can be done in various ways. Think of orchestration as cooking. When you are baking a pie and you're following the instructions in sequential order. You may start out in that way in terms of cooking a pie, but once you become proficient with it, you will know how to do various tasks while you are waiting for the pie to heat in the oven. You are being asynchronous in your movement and not waiting for one action to complete before the other. Think of orchestration in that lens, where at the beginning your process may be linear. As you become more advanced and familiar with the platform's capability, you may include various ways of conducting multiple actions at the same time, or having it revert back to an action in a previous step. However, orchestration will vary from platform to platform. Then last but not least, it's describing your agent. What would be the name of your agent? How would you describe your agent? Just like how would you describe yourself? I think that's what makes agent building very exciting, because you are defining what makes your agent unique and the characteristics that it has. A lot of the agents I create, I provide names from a specific era. Kudos to whoever figures out what era I'm referring to for the agent names. So we have completed identifying our agent or avatar. We know what tasks it will need to complete. We know the large language models that we're looking for, the data. Next is the agent building mindset, where you're now building your agent out in the platform. There are 4 processes to take into account when it comes to building an agent. The first is collect. In this process, you are thinking about all the inputs you need to gather from an end user. These inputs will shift and control and adjust how your agent responds to the information. Once you've collected all the required information, then you proceed to the get process, where in this phase, you are retrieving any documents you need from any storage device or scraping a website for content for it to reference. The next is the action process, where you are now defining the sequence of activities it needs to process. Here is where you're using your large language model to analyze scraped data for sentiment or keyword search, or generating a blog article based upon the collecting information from the user, followed by the data that you provided to then create a blog article. Once you finish the process, you proceed to the last phase, which is the show. Here you're displaying the information, whether it be from a user interface, web application, or the content is emailed to you for your review at your leisure. And so overall, you're going through this collect, get, action, and show process when it comes to building your agent. And with that, folks, thank you for joining me today. If you'd like to have more conversations about agent building and Gen AI, please feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, reference the QR code on the left. In addition, I hope I have convinced you in taking the first step in building your first agent. You can use the Agent AI platform as a way to get started. You can reference the QR code on the right to navigate to Agent AI and start building. Also engage the community. If you have any comments or questions, we also have bi-weekly roundtable meetups where we talk about all things agent building and related topics. And again, folks, thank you for joining me today. Please don't forget to follow and subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next one. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.